Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है सच नानक होसी पी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है सच नानक होसी भी सच मैं नाही कछ हो नहीं किछ आहे न मोरा अवसर लज्जा राख लिहो सदना जन तोरा जी मैं नहीं कछ हो नहीं किछ आहे न मोरा अवसर लज्जा राख लिहो सदना जन तोरा। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. So today we are going live again on various channels, and I just want to make sure that everything is working. So I have this new system set up. Hopefully everything is working fine. If you can hear the audio, or if the live stream is working fine for you, so please put in the comment below so we can know whether it's working fine. And so Mari bahut kirpa that we have a new topic today, that too from the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Again, so this week I'll be exploring all the Sakhya from the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, where Guru Sahib is giving us Sikhya, moral values or lessons that is still applicable to us today. And today's Sakhi is a very interesting one, because when I read it, I was like, whoa, this is really interesting. And so I really want to share it with all of you. And the topic of today is 5 questions that a princess asked to Guru Gobind Singh Ji via a poem. So she wrote a poem, a very beautiful short poem to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. She had this immense love for Sikhi. And she was a princess, a Turkani actually. So Turkani, she was a female Turk, a princess of Chamba. And because even though she was a Turkani, she was from the Mughals, and they are the rivals of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. But this princess, she has this love for Guru Gobind Singh Ji and Gurbani as well. So she would read Gurbani, she would understand Gurbani, and when she found out that Guru Gobind Singh Ji was in the same town as she was in, which was in Rival Penda, in Rival town, she was very, very happy, and she asked permission from her father if she could write a poem to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, because she knew that Guru Gobind Singh Ji loved poetry. As we all know, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in their darbar, they kept 52 darbari kavi, or Darbari poets who used to write poetry to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And so she did the same as well. But when she was writing her poem, she didn't want to come as someone who's egoistic. You know, sometimes when we write poetry, there is some sort of homa in us that we have the guna, the virtue of able to write poetry. So, and she knew that Guru Gobind Singh Ji would be able to sense ego or homa in her writing as well. So this princess, this Kuturkani, she wrote the poem to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and the poem is a really short one. So she wrote, Sara pauna, duja gauna, nar nari the dono pauna, kuch khada, kuch leke sona. So I'm going to repeat this one more time. It might take us some time to understand what exactly she's trying to say. Sara pauna, duja gauna, nar nari थे दोनों पौना कुछ खादा कुछ लेके सोना. So these are 5 questions that this princess asked Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and these are very interesting questions. So question number 1, Sara Pauna. This question she was asking is that what is the fundamental substance, or what is the first thing, the most important thing that a human obtains when coming into this earth? ਉਹ ਵਸਤੂ ਕੀ ਆ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਸਤੂ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ? ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਸਤੂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦਾ. Then the second question. So while I'm reading out these questions, Sangaji, you also can contemplate and think about these answers as well. And second question, Duja Gauna. ਉਹ ਦੂਜੀ ਵਸਤੂ ਕੀ ਆ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਵਾਗਮਨ ਦਾ ਚੱਕਰ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਤੇ ਕਦੇ ਮਿਟਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ? What is that second thing in which the cycle of life and death function and never ends? So that's the second question. The third question, nar nari te dono pauna. Nar nari here meaning like male, female, hai na? How is one subjected to the cycle of life and death and its various life forms? ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਆਵਾਗਮਨ ਦੇ ਚੱਕਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਫਸਦਾ ਤੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੁਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪੈਂਦਾ? How are we subjected into different life forms? Kutta, you know, dog, cat, sea animals, earth, land animals. How are we subjected to different life forms? That's the third question. Then the fourth question, kuch khada. This one, how does one reap one's actions based on the game of karam? So ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ? And how do we reap our actions based on karam? That's the fourth question. And fifth question, kuch leke sona. The fifth question is, what happens if a person dies without clearing the account of karam? So let's say what happened if I have all this karam in my account and I have been given this human body, but I leave this world, I die without clearing my karam. What happens then? So ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੇ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਰਮ ਮਿਟਾਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਚਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ? So ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ? So these are the 5 questions that this princess asked Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji, when they read this poem, they were very, very amazed. Number 1, by the poetry skill of the princess. Number 2, the kind of questions the princess asked. You see, even as a student, our teachers get very amazed by the kind of questions we ask. That's why a Sikh should always be a learner. We should always ask questions. And I remember my personal experience when I was studying. We were having classes with Swami Ram Singh Ji, and they would go around and say that Sawal Pucho, ask a question, and everybody asked a question. And then when it came to me, I didn't have any questions. And I said, I don't have any questions. Then Swami Ram Singh Ji, they gave a very good Sikhya. They said 2 types of people don't ask questions. One who do not know anything, or one who already know everything. And I think as a normal person, still being on the path of Sikhi, it means that we still do not know anything, and it's probably we should start learning so we can know something about ourselves. So now Guru Gobind Singh Ji is giving a reply, and this is the reply or the answers of Guru Sahib that we are going to share, and we are going to contemplate at the same time as well on what Gurbani says. So the first question, what is the first thing a human obtains when coming into this world? ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਸਤੂ ਕੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦਾ? And that Guru Gobind Singh Ji say is written in Gurbani, which we read daily. ਭਈ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਮਾਨੁਖ ਦੇ ਹੋਰੀਆ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਮਿਲਨ ਕੀ ਇਹ ਤੇਰੀ ਬਰੀਆ. So ਭਈ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਮਾਨੁਖ ਦੇ ਹੋਰੀਆ. We obtain this human body, this Panchaputak Sarir, this body, physical body made up of the 5 elements. We obtain this body when we come into this world. Pai prapat manuk de horiya, Gobind milan ki eh teri bariya. And what are we supposed to do when we obtain this body? What is the purpose of this body? Is to meet Gobind. Gobind milan ki, to meet Gobind, to have darshan of Paramatma, eh teri bariya. This is now your turn, your chance to meet Paramatma through this human body. Even in Gurbani, Bhagat Kabir Ji says, Gur seva te bhagat kamai, tab eh manas dehi pai. So listen to these words of Bhagat Ji very carefully. Gur seva te bhagat kamai. Only through the seva of the Guru and through the immense bhakti that we have done in our previous life forms, Gur seva te bhagat kamai, tab, then eh manas dehi pai, then we obtain this human body. Iddan hi sanu eh sareer milda, which means in our previous lives we must have done very good karam. And then Bhagat Ji says, is dehi ko simrah dev, so dehi bhaj har ki sev. Is dehi ko, for this body, simrah dev, jere devi devte, the gods and goddesses, 33 crore devi devte, even they are yearning to get into this human body. They are yearning that they want to be born as a human so that they can also do bhakti of Paramatma. So dehi bhaj har ki sev. That body, this body that we have, must be used to do bhakti of Paramatma. That's the sole purpose of this body. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying that the first thing we obtain when we come into this world is this body. Second question. What is the second thing in which the cycle of life and death function and never ends? ਉਹ ਦੂਜੀ ਵਸਤੂ ਕੀ ਆ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਵਾਗਮਨ ਦਾ ਚੱਕਰ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਤੇ ਕਦੇ ਮੁੱਕਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ? And this one, Guru Gobind Singh Ji is answering, the thing which the cycle of life and death function and never ends is Dubada, the illusion of Maya. Dubada, there's a word of two, do, two. Anything that takes us away from the realization that Asi Paramatma da Sarupa, that we are the Jod, the form of Vaheguru, any form of Dubada which takes us away from Akal Purkh, that is Maya, and because of that, the cycle of life and death is still functioning and is never ending. Because why? When we are born into this world, when we are given this human body, so the first thing we obtain is this human body. But the mistake we do, that dobada, the doubt that we create, is that I am this body and not the Paramatma, not the Atma that is in this body. And so in Ananda Sahib, Guru Amar Das Ji bhi kende hai, Jatis Pana ta jammya, Parvar pala paya. Jatis Pana, with the will of Akar Purkh, ta jammya, then the child is born into this world. But then what happens when the child is born? Liv shurki, laggi trisna, maya amar vartaya. The moment the child is born, liv shurki, the concentration that the child, the baby has with Paramatma is broken. Laggi trishna, And now the child is surrounded by desires of the world, kapde ho gaye, the attachment to a mother, the joy in the family. Lagi Trishna, Maya Amar Vartaya. And now Maya has started running around the child, has started doing its work around the child, creating dobada, creating this ego, this this thought that I am this body and not the Atma, which is a form of Paramatma. Then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj also says, Dobada, khasam chod dujai lage, dube se vanjarya. Khasam chod, when we forget, khasam here meaning Akal Purkh Vaheguru, when we forget Vaheguru Ji, khasam chod dujai lage, and now we attach ourselves to everything in this world. We attach ourselves to this body, to our kapde, our family, our work, our wealth. Khasam chod dujai lage, dube se vanjarya. Then that person is definitely going to drown. Satguru hai bohe tha, virla kine vichare. Only few people in this world, given this human body, have understood that Satguru hai bohe tha, that the true Guru, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, is the boat that is going to lead us to Paramatma, that is going to give us the gyan, the understanding, so that we can have the darshan of Paramatma. Satguru hai boheta virlay kine vicharya, kar kirpa par utarya. And how can we get on the boat is through the kirpa of Vaheguru. And how to get kirpa of Vaheguru? I've covered this in the video on Monday as well. There's many ways, that we can make the effort to get kirpa from Paramatma. So the second question was, how does the cycle of life and death still function and never ends? That is through dobada, through doubt, which is a game of Maya. Yeah, Maya is anything that stops us from becoming one with Vaheguru. So then now the third question, how is one subjected to the cycle of life and death and the various life forms? ਇੱਕ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਆਵਾਗਮਨ ਦੇ ਚੱਕਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਫਸਦਾ ਤੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੁੰਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪੈਂਦਾ? The answer is ਹਉਮੈ, ego. Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, ਹਉਮੈ is the greatest suffering to a human, to a person. Haume is the greatest suffering which subjects the person to the cycle of life and death. Which is why Gurbani says, Haume eha jaat hai, haume karam kamahe, haume ei bandana, fir juni pai. Look at that, the direct answer that Gurbani gives us. Haume ei bandana, that haume is this bondage, fir juni pai, in which bar again and again we get stuck in the cycle of life and death. We get stuck in these different life forms. In Asa Diwar we read this pankti, how vich aaya, how vich gaya. In home we come into this world, in home we leave this world. How vich jammya, in home we take birth into this world, how vich muwa. And then we also die in home. Every single thing we do is in home. Home is literally what? I am. Again, we associate ourselves with this body. I am this body. I am whatever I see with my physical eyes. And everything that we do in this world, Sangaji, every action that we take is through home. Home ei bandana. Bandana means this bondage. Home is this bondage. Fir joni pai. And if we are still in this bondage of home, asi bar fir chakra vich fasange. This is how we are subjected to different cycle of life, different form of life. Sorry. Even Bhagat Lochan ji, they say in their Bani, the Antikal Shabad. What happens towards the end of your life if you think of a certain something, if you think about your wealth, if you think about your children, if you think about your wife, if you think about your house, what kind of life form do you get into? And Bhagat Lochan ji speaks about it. And what happens if you think about Narayan, Paramatma, towards the end of your life? And Sangaji, when we say towards the end of your life, it doesn't mean that 10 years from now, because the question is, Sanu pata, if we are going to be alive 10 years from now. So the Antakal is every moment in our life. Antakal Narayan Simran is every moment us doing Simran of something that will lead us to that form of life in our next life, to that form, either be it an animal or a plant, or again becoming a human. So whatever we are doing Simran of in this June, in this life form, is directing us to our end goal. Yeah. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji is answering the third question, and they are saying, how man is the suffering as the main reason why we are stuck in the cycle of life and death and different life forms. Who knows, Sangaji? We have become a dog, we have become a cat, we have become a fish, we have become a tree. We can't remember what our life forms, our previous life forms were. But we might be, who knows, na Paramatma hi jante ne. Which is why in Gurbani Mara says as well, how man nave naal virodh hai. That how man, ego and naam is, they are virodh, they are against each other. Doe na vase ek thai. How man and naam, because how man is basically ego and naam does not contain any ego. Naam is basically where you have given yourself up completely to Paramatma and you have that realization that I, so prab dur nahi, prab tu hai, that I am the form of Paramatma. So how main naave naal virodh hai, they don't get along. Doe na vase ek thai. And you cannot have naam and how mein in the same plate, which is this body. So Guru Sahib is saying, until we have how mein in us, we are still going to get stuck in the cycle of life and death. The fourth question, how do we reap our actions based on karam? So, ek manukha karma nu kitna pogda. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying, the mere fact that we are born in this janam, we are here, we are going through this world, is we are already paying for our karam. We are now reaping the karam of our past life. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji says that without naam, our karam cannot be burnt. Without naam only. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji said specifically without naam, sanchit karam cannot be burned. I asked a question today. How many types of karam are there? And I've done this before in my Basant Ki Var Katha as well. There are 3 types of karam. Sanchit karam, Paralabdh karam, and Kiriman karam. So it's a very organized system of this karam, which is quite easy to understand. Sanchit karam is all the pool of, it's basically a pool of karam from all our past life. So think about it, Sanchit karam is a pool containing all our karams from all our past lives. Paralabdh karam is a bucket of that pani from that pool that we take into this form. So when we come into this world, we carry a bucket of karam from that whole Sanchit karam when we come into this world. And the way or the situation that we are born in is based on that Paralabdh karam that we bring into this world. So some people are born poor, some people are born sick, some people are born wealthy, healthy, and all that. That is because of the Paralabdh karam that we carry with us into this world. And that Paralabdh karam does not mean it comes directly from the previous life. It can come from any life that we have been in previously. So that is Sanchit karam, the whole pool of karam. Paralabdh karam is the bucket that we take into this life, and then we have to pay for it. We are reaping whatever karam that we have taken with us in this life. Kiriman karam, the third karam, is all the karam that we are doing right now. So when we say, that's why Guru Sahib sanu kende ne that change karam kamao, Sikhi kamao, Gursikh bano, Amrit chakko, Naam japo, Bani paro, Seva karo. These are all the good karam. And then we have the Mare karam. So if we keep on collecting Mare karam, then we are adding on to that pool of karam. We keep on adding on to it. Instead of burning it, instead of removing the pool and making the pool empty, we are adding more karam to it. So that's not what we want to do. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying that without naam, our Sanchit karam, the pool, the whole collection of karam cannot be burnt. So that's why in Bara Mahadibani we say Kirt Karam ke vichde kar kirpa melhora. That because of our karam from our past lives, we are separated from Paramatma. And how can we be one with Paramatma? Again, Kar Kirpa. We are telling Paramatma, Tuadi Kirpa, then through your blessings, through your mercy, I can be one with you. And Guru Sahib is telling us the way through Naam Japo. Even for us to jap Naam as well, Evi Marish Kirpa Kardane. Sade paso kuch nahi ho sakta. We can't do anything on our own terms. Everything happens through the Kirpa of Paramatma. But to get Kirpa of Vaheguruji, we have to make that effort so that Paramatma apni drishti sade upar rakhe. That Paramatma have their vision, their eyes upon us to keep on doing the Kirpa. This is a very interesting pankti where we say, how can karam cannot be destroyed, or how can Naam is the only answer to destroying all our karam. Pagar Tilochan ji is saying, they say, Purbulo krita karam na miteri kar gehan. They are telling their wife, Purbulo krita karam na miteri kar gehan, tache mohe japyale ramche namam. They are saying that Purbulo, all the karams of our past lives cannot be destroyed. Namite cannot be destroyed. Oh my wife. Tache, that's why Naam, Tache mohe japyale, that's why I'm doing job. Ramche Namam, I'm doing job, I'm doing Simran of Ram Naam. That is the only way my karam can be destroyed. So perhaps I can get rid of I can burn all my karam in this life, and I do not have to come back again and again and again. So we should make that goal that bus. This is the only life, or this is the only June that I want to get into. This is the end of my journey. So I want to start burning all my karam so I do not have to come back again. And so Guru Gobind Singh Ji is answering the fourth question, which is how are we paying, or how are we reaping our actions based on karam? Is in this life we are already reaping, we're already paying for that based on the kind of situation we are born in. And how can karam be destroyed? Only through Naam. And now the fifth question, the last question that the princess asked, is what happens if a person dies but the account of karam, the person's account of karam is not cleared yet? So which means that there's still some karam that he or she has to go through, has to pay for. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, if death comes, if the person dies, but the account of karam is not cleared, then according to those karam, the person will be judged again and will have to come back into the cycle of life and death. Gurbani says, Baki wala talbiye, sir mare jindar jiyo, lekha mange devana, puche kar bichar jiyo. Baki wala talbiye, the baki, the rest of the account, the karam, which is the balanced karam which is left, sir mare jindar jiyo, then the messenger of death, Jamdoot, Taramraj will then ask for that account. Lekha mange devna, they ask for the account, and we have to provide that account. Puche kar bichar jiyo, and then bichar means then the contemplation will be done on what has to be done about those karam, what has to be done about us then. So then we will have to come back into the cycle of life and death until the account of karam is cleared. So these are the 5 questions that the princess asked Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and when she got the reply, she was very amazed by how Guru Gobind Singh Ji was able to give their answers with so much clarity and with reference to Gurbani that they asked permission from their father to have darshan of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. They came into the darbar of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they turned around, they did not look at her because she was a wife, a princess of the Mughals, but because Guru Sahib they could sense the love, the respect that this princess had for Guru Gobind Singh Ji. They blessed this princess, saying that in your next life, you will be born in the house of a Sikh in Damdama Sahib, in the family of Dalla. And when you're born in that family, you're born in Damdama Sahib, I will come and give you my darshan then. And so the princess was very happy, and she went back home, and the rest of her life she spent doing Simran, doing Naam, Bhajan Bandagi and Seva, just as Guru Gobind Singh Ji told her, based on the letter that they wrote for the princess. And so this way the 5 questions were answered, and Sangaji, they are still very relevant to us today as well. So in summary, Guru Sahib is telling us that the most important thing we obtain when we come into this world is this human body. And what are we supposed to do with this human body is to go back to our souls, go back to Paramatma. So do those kind of karam which leads us back to Paramatma and not the other way around. And by doing those change karam, by doing what our Guru is trying to tell us, then hopefully we are clearing our account of karam as well. We are clearing that so that we start paying off these karam. How? By doing naam simran, by doing seva, by doing bhajan bandagi, by doing what our Guru Sahib is trying to tell us. Then hopefully Maharaj sade upar kirpa karenge, and then our karam will be destroyed. So hopefully we do not have to come back into the cycle of life and death anymore, and we'll be one with Vaheguru. So that is the whole purpose. And through this poetry, Guru Sahib was able to explain all of that with so much clarity. So hopefully this video was a very informative one to all of us, Sangat. And please forgive me for any mistakes that I've made. Tomorrow we're going to be going live again on a different topic, 5 types of Sikhi, which is a very interesting one as well that Guru Gobind Singh Ji told us. So please forgive me for any mistakes I have made. Thank you so much to all the Sangat out there. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.